Okay, lesson 14. Let's close our eyes for a moment. Lesson 14. Muladhara Chakra. Mula means root. Adhara means basic or prop. Muladhara Chakra literally lies at the root of your existence. It is the chakra at the bottom of the spine. Muladhara Chakra is responsible for excretion. So all functions that involve excretion, sweating, going to the toilet, but also giving birth to a baby, these are all forms of excretion. When there is a blockage in Muladhara Chakra, which many people suffer from because of fear, fear is the function of Muladhara Chakra, you have trouble, for example, with obstipation. Byonbi, hamumalo. Obstipation. Also, when pregnant and it's time for the baby to come out, there is no energy present at the level where it is needed. Huge amounts of energy are needed to push the baby out. So medical intervention is required in the form of a cesarean surgery. Muladhara Chakra is directly related to smell. So people who suffer disharmony in Muladhara Chakra, not only their smell function literally is not working well, but people, often caused by fear, have a bad smell physically. As a human being, your nose is not that strong, but animals, dogs, they have a very big nose, which scientists say is 100,000 times stronger than the smell of a human being. An animal picks its prey based on fear. People who are bitten by a dog, most of the times, were showing fear, triggering the instinct in the animal to attack. The opposite is also true. If you can control your fear in front of an animal, it doesn't see you as a potential prey. It will not attack you. So symbolically, there is the ultimate test of the yogi, that is to go into the forest and come out alive. Meeting with dangerous animals. And in the symbolism, that animal is a lion. Meeting the lion or meeting the tiger in the forest. If you show no fear, the animal will come, circle around you, smell, and walk away. If you fail the test, you have no second chance. So let's keep it at symbolism. But yeah, that story, that kind of test does exist in yoga. We don't do that, of course. But the symbolism is important. The mechanism behind it is important. Interestingly, you see the same phenomenon in people with distorted sexuality. Sexual predators suffer from bad smell. Strange enough. Not strange, actually, because sexuality is directly linked with fear. Of course, we live in a world where we don't see that connection anymore. Sexuality is romance. Sexuality is love. But that's not how it worked a couple of 100 years ago. That's not how it still not works in the animal world. What is sexuality? Sexuality is an instinct to survive. Technically, it's just an instinct to survive. When you are struck by fear, you become overly sexually active. Why? To preserve the species. Because danger means possible death. If there is possible death, the existence of the species is threatened. So instinctively, you become active to sustain, to protect the species by procreating. Sexuality is the tool for that. To see how this works, you can see that every conflict in the world, every war, is accompanied by sexual violence. Because war is full of fear, full of danger. You see also the opposite. Countries that are very peaceful, very stable, they have graying societies. They don't procreate anymore. Japan is a very good example of this. People are so stable, so secure, so safe. They say, I have no interest anymore. In Korea also it's happening. I don't want to get married. I don't want to. But the underlying reason is really stability. It's a luxury problem, actually. Stability in Muladhara Chakra. So fear, instability, is directly linked to sexuality. And thus, despite of the fact that we have contraceptives, and thus related to the population, the development of the population. In Japan, statistics show that, if I'm correct, almost 50% of people in their late 30s, close to 40s, have never had sex, and when asked, are not interested. That is really weird, isn't it? This explains why. It's sattva in Muladhara Chakra that reduces the instinct to procreate. The procreation, the urge to procreate is triggered by danger causing fear, instability. And so, after every war, there is a population boom, a baby boom. Happened in Holland, where I come from. It happened in Korea too after the Korean War. Families of 12, 13, 14, 15 children. Strange. No, not strange. Logical when you understand this, but very interesting. Yes, Neda?
So Do you think maybe there will be a baby boom after
After Corona? Yeah, but that's another reason. That's because people are bored. Not only bored, but stuck together at home. You know, there is a song. It's old, of course, because I'm old. But there is an American band. It's called the Tramps. And they had a very popular song in the 70s. Where were you when the lights went out in New York City? In New York, one day there was a blackout, total blackout, followed by a baby boom. 9 months later, followed by a baby boom. That song is about that. People cooped up in the house, nowhere to go, nothing to do. Also, the TV, the radio, nothing works anymore if you have a blackout. Now we have coronavirus. Maybe people keep themselves busy with their smartphones, then maybe we don't have a baby boom, I don't know. But
divorce?
Yeah.
Divorce.
Yeah, Muladhara Chakra. If you watch the news regularly, well, it doesn't occur so often anymore. You know the issue in Israel and Palestine? There are regularly riots there with young people rioting against the security forces, throwing stones, Molotov cocktails and what have you. But of course, there is so much violence involved that the security forces act also very strictly. So they round up those boys if they can catch them. They bring them to a truck and they're being deported. They're being taken to a prison somewhere. And this rioting is almost always done by young people, teenagers, for the excitement. Excitement where? In Muladhara Chakra. Rajas in Muladhara Chakra. So for young children, rioting is fun. Playing with danger to feel that excitement. It's the same as going into a roller coaster. When you take a roller coaster ride, people are screaming, "Wah!" And yet people pay for that. Why? Because people enjoy the rajas. But what happens when you are rioting, enjoying the rajas, and you are caught by the security forces? For years you have heard stories from your older brothers, from the friends in the neighborhood, that when you get caught, they beat you up, they torture you. Some get killed. The moment they are caught, an explosion of energy, rajas, in Muladhara Chakra, what happens? You watch the news based on what you know here, and you see that their pants are wet. An explosion in Muladhara Chakra, explosion of fear, leads to involuntary relieving yourself. Both ways, front and the back. There are expressions related to this. You're a shitty pants when you are easily scared of something. Shitty pants. What does it mean? You shit your pants. Literally, when struck by fear. If you can't control your fear. In the same way, you urinate. So you see the wet stains in the boys' pants when they are being carried away to the truck that brings them to the prison. That's Muladhara Chakra. Muladhara Chakra, remember, is responsible for excretion. So when there is an explosion of energy, you involuntarily relieve yourself, but also the sweat that comes out of your skin, out of your pores, is not normal sweat. It's sweat caused by fear, and it smells like fear. It has a different smell than normal sweat, sweat from exercise. That is why an animal detects your fear by smell. Smelling. In Dutch, if I literally translate it, we call it fear sweat. Fear sweat. The expression we use very often, fear sweat. Fear sweat is different from exercise sweat because it smells, dirty smell, not a nice smell. So it is also said that a yogi who has, of course, harmony in Muladhara Chakra smells like roses. That's symbolism. But it's not so bad actually. You want to try? If you come close to me and you smell a bad smell, then I'm a fake yogi. I have no harmony in Muladhara Chakra. I'm joking, but it is true.
We talk about that in Buddhism as well. They call it the sweet smell of moral discipline.
Yeah, there you have it. There's no joke. There's no fairy tale. The sweet smell of moral discipline. Harmony in Muladhara Chakra. This is very important information. Try to picture this. You probably, maybe, have experienced this already in your life. You meet somebody, and on first sight, you find that person very attractive. You feel strongly attractive to a person. That person has a nice personality maybe, or is beautiful, physically attractive. But then you come close. Maybe you hug as a greeting, and you smell the person's smell. Have you ever experienced this? The person that was so attractive to you at first doesn't smell good. And you're not attracted anymore. No matter how beautiful that person is, you're not attracted anymore. The opposite is also true. A person at first sight totally unattractive, but with a very nice smell. I'm not talking about perfume. I'm not talking about Chanel. I'm talking about body smell. And you can just fall in love with that person because of smell. Right? No? You get it? You understand? When you are looking for a partner, pay attention to smell. Because if you choose a partner based on material aspects, which is always part of our considerations, very likely, and you ignore the fact that that person does not have a good smell, you're going to regret. When you're in that relationship, weeks, months later, you're going to regret. I see some of you nodding, so you have experienced this. Don't ignore this. It's very powerful, in fact. Smell. Animal smell is much stronger than that of a human being, but we underestimate very much the power of our own smell. Okay, we have something that we do with every chakra, and you see that after the first paragraph, it is colored. The chakra, every chakra, except Ajna chakra and Sahasrara chakra. So the 5 lower chakras are all structured like this. There is a subtle element. In Muladhara chakra, it's earth. There's earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So we will go through those 5. This is symbolism. But earth, that is the condensation of energy into matter. The final manifestation of energy after gas, liquid, fire, eventually the most dense matter is earth. Here you see this coming back. Subtle element Tanmatra. Matra means matter. The manifestation into matter is earth. The subtle vehicle of action we discussed just before is excretion, all forms of excretion. The subtle organ of perception, Jnanendriya, is smell. Wait, Karmendriya, subtle vehicle of action. Karmendriya, you see the stem word karma in the word Karmendriya. So it is referring to action. Because karma, surrounded by a lot of mystery, as many words in Sanskrit are surrounded by a lot of mystery, like namaskar. But karma simply means doing. And so there are many words derived from the word karma. Kriya comes from the word karma. And karmendriya also comes from the word karma. It is the organ of doing, or the subtle vehicle, as we call it, the subtle vehicle of action. The responsibility of this chakra, what it does physically, is excretion. Jnanendriya, indriya is a sense or an organ. Jnana is knowledge or perception. So the organ of perception connected with this chakra, we already talked about also, is the nose, is smell. The subtle energy is apana prana. The color is red. Very important. What is not important is the mantra, Lam. That is symbolism. It is, of course, of value philosophically, but practically that mantra doesn't have so much significance. What has a lot of significance is, first of all, the subtle energy, apana prana. Apana prana is responsible for excretion. When you lack apana prana, you suffer obstipation, inability to give birth to a baby, bad smell because of disharmonious sweating, etc. And apana prana is also responsible for all movement. Movement of the muscles in connection with the skeleton. So all movement is fueled by apana prana. Practically, you notice the absence of apana prana when you wake up in the morning. Have you tried practicing yoga early in the morning after waking up? What do you notice? The body is cold and stiff. Doesn't cooperate so well. Lack of apana prana. What do? You drink a cup of coffee. No. You move. You need to move. When you move, you generate apana prana. So after a little movement, the muscles become warmer, more flexible, as a result of apana prana, increasing apana prana, generated in Muladhara chakra. The color red also very, very interesting. Have you ever thought about it? The color red? Where do you see the color red? Huh? Blood. That was the last thing for me to think about. I'm thinking about McDonald's. Coca-Cola. No, don't insult me. This is wine red. That's very good. Was it?
Just before,
People shouldn't text me while I'm busy. Okay. Hey, this kind of red. No, blood is dark. No, McDonald's. McDonald's. Everybody knows McDonald's because it's red. Coca-Cola, Marlboro. What do you see here? What am I summing up here? I'm summing up the most successful brands in the world selling rubbish. How is it possible that all these brands that I mentioned are multi-billion-dollar businesses, very profitable, selling junk?
Based on fear.
Tobacco, sugar, fat, processed food, unhealthy. stuff. Smoking, drinking. Your Coca-Cola, 1/3 is sugar. Sugar is not bad, but in such huge amounts, very, very bad. The marketing industry knows the power of the color red. What is it doing? It appeals directly to your lowest instinct. It gives you a sense of excitement without you even knowing it. If you have children, you have to take them to McDonald's once a month or so. They want to go every day or every Saturday, and you deny them because you know it's not healthy to eat hamburgers and French fries too often. Sometimes, okay, that's another story. So you deny them. Every time you say no, no, no. But there comes a day that it becomes so urgent, they become so rebellious that, well, okay, then let's for one time go to McDonald's. Children are enchanted by that color red in combination with the McDonald's clown and the little toys that they get, the Happy Meal and what have you. McDonald's, very clever marketing. But the most powerful ingredient is the color red. Same with Coca-Cola, same with Marlboro, and there are many other brands. I worked for a company that used the color red. So my car was using the color red. It was a white car with red. You know what happens? People become aggressive. Very cleverly, those cars also drive around in Korea because it's a global company. It's called Initial. They have changed to the color blue. And it has a totally opposite effect on people. The color red, if you park your car somewhere because you need to do something, immediately you have a ticket under your wiper. And when the police officer comes and you in a polite way talk your way out of the violation, no way. But since they changed the color to blue, it's a totally different reaction from people, including the police officers. Color has a huge impact on people's behavior. And those brands that I mentioned use it to pull money out of your pocket. Neda, I hear your brain. What?
Oh, so I'm wondering then, in China, the color red is very like a lucky envelope. It's lucky.
Yeah.
So
in Korea, the color red is, you know what it's related to? Death.
Oh. So those are just cultural interpretations. Do they have some?
I think
Also?
I never deeply contemplated on that, but I'm sure that you find connections. You find a connection in the red light district.
Yeah.
The red light district is red, not yellow or blue. Why? Because it's the color of Muladhara Chakra is instinctive sex. That's why it's not just the red light district in name, but they use the color red in the interior of the bars and the rooms where prostitution is practiced.
Stop sign is also red.
Danger.
Yeah.
In China, it's luck,
Yeah.
good luck. In Korea, the color red and the number 4 is related to death.
Mm-hmm.
My sister used to send me congratulations with your birthday written in red. Sometimes they were half torn or I didn't understand. Korean people told me, tell your sister not to write in red. Because the mailman, some mailmen, they feel bad that it's written in red because it's related to death. As, after 23 years, my sister still writes in red. I just gave up. No, but We're talking here about color and the incredible influence that it has on our behavior. Just be aware of it, that's all. Ferrari, you know Ferrari? Italian sports car brand. Until recently, you could buy them only in one color. Until recently, Ferraris were only available in red. Did you know that? Just like yoga, it was obscure. Ferrari was very special. Only very small amount of cars were made. But there was a philosophy behind that. Don't know if you can call it a philosophy. You could order them in all colors, as long as it was red. Now, they come in black, yellow, white. Why? Just because of commercial motive. Now they can sell 100 times more of those cars. They have no integrity anymore. They have no philosophy anymore. In the past, only red. You don't like it? Buy another brand. That was their philosophy. It was not about getting rich or making a lot of money. It was about passion to build that car in red. It's funny, eh? Study marketing. You will learn many interesting, serious, and also funny things. You will have a totally different look on the society that you grew up in and that you are living in. Color, very powerful tool. You will see with the other chakras also, because of course they have another color and therefore another effect on people.
How do they choose that color? Is it because it's...
Mankind is very old, and the whole science of yoga is based on tens of thousands of years of evolution. But marketing as it is in the modern age is no different. I dare say even that ancient people, being less mental and more intuitive, had a much deeper knowledge about these things than we do. All these deep insights, you are surprised that I'm telling you all these kind of things. For ancient people it was natural, it was normal knowledge. For us it's fading away, because we are focusing on other, more rational and concrete aspects of life. Ancient people were much more connected with the subtle aspects of life. Yeah, Muladhara Chakra. Each chakra has a developmental stage of approximately 7 years. Harmony in Muladhara Chakra is most important from birth until the age of 7. That is why it is so important that we give children, babies, toddlers at least up until the age of 7, a very safe, secure, stable environment. If those first 7 years are unstable, insecure, unsafe, the developmental stages that come after it are already disrupted, disturbed. Growing into a mature, stable, emotionally mature also, and socially mature adult is not possible if these first 7 years are not relatively harmonious. If you have grown up in an unstable environment during the first years of your life, childhood, does it mean that your further development is lost? For many people it does. But not for the person who discovers yoga and introduces harmony in their life. You simply catch up. I'm an example of that. My brothers, I have 3 brothers, 2 of them have died in their 40s. Because we grew up after the Second World War in unstable, insecure, disharmonious environment. My 2 brothers died premature. I didn't. Because I discovered yoga, introduced harmony into my being, into my life, and so started to grow and flourish to some extent. Can you see how this works? If you haven't had it, you can still introduce it. Back to your origin, back to harmony, back to your origin. It is the instability that leads to distraction, disruption. So you can't focus in school. You don't evolve, you don't mature like stable human beings do. But you can catch up. Almost everybody, nobody grows up in perfect circumstances. Almost everybody is subject to disharmony and disruption and insecurity, one form or another. No family is perfect. But what this is telling us is that the more harmony there is, the more stability there is, the better the child will thrive growing up. We talked about this before. It comes back again. Then every chakra, you will recognize these 7 years of development. Depending on your age, you will recognize that, yes, it's exactly where you are at. It's very interesting. But it means also that we must take care of each other. When you understand this, you understand that disharmony, disruption, lack of safety, security, causes human beings' development to be disrupted. Once you understand that, you become a teacher. And as a parent, you will do everything you can to create that environment, that bubble for your child. You become a teacher, or you become a nurse or a doctor. You will find something in your life naturally attracted to doing something that in some way creates harmony, creates sattva, leads to healing, whether that is physical as a doctor or mental as a teacher. Can you see the logic here? So being a teacher or a doctor, and then there are many other professions that are related to caring, in the service industry for example, that is not a job, it's a calling. It's a calling or a vocation. You can see what is happening now with the coronavirus. There is so much admiration for the nurses and the doctors. Many of them have already died. They sacrifice themselves to save other people that are sick. And they get the disease themselves, and still they continue to do their work. Sacrifice themselves. You would never do that if it was just a job. You do that because subconsciously or consciously, you know your responsibility is to do good to mankind in general, to the people that need you. Teachers become teachers because they know that children need them to grow up. Not just the parents, teachers. Nurses, doctors, they become nurse, doctor to help people who need them because they get sick. It's a calling, a vocation, not just a job. You see that? And most yoga practitioners will eventually go in a direction related to this. Like it or not. You will like it because it will come from your heart. finally, not finally, almost finally, Muladhara Chakra lies at the bottom and it has a very special function. There are two different kinds of energies that flow in and out of the body. At the top we have Chandra Bindu, at the bottom we have Surya Bindu. Chandra means moon, Surya means sun. Surya Bindu lies in the center of Muladhara Chakra. It is the gateway of not just Shakti energy, but if you know the right exercises, if you do the right thing, Kundalini energy to rise up and awaken the higher chakras, higher consciousness, intuition, wisdom, vision are fueled by this energy. Spirituality, real spirituality, natural spirituality, occurs when that energy rises up. Kundalini is a snake, remember? Coiled up at the bottom, but it is sleeping. We call it latent energy. It's there, but it's dormant, it's sleeping. And it only wakes up and climbs up through the chakras when you do special things in a special way, which is yoga. Surya Bindu lies in the center of Muladhara Chakra. Opening up Surya Bindu allows that energy to rise up. So, although it is a low chakra, and we talk about it kind of in a negative way, because we talk about distorted sexuality, we talk about instincts, lower emotions, fear, etc. But in yoga there is nothing good or bad. It really depends on the condition, whether something manifests good or bad. So, in essence, everything is good, unless the condition decides otherwise. Normal people are the victim of that. We recognize it and we can make a correction. You see that? So yoga is not an exercise. Yoga is a science. What kind of science? It's the science of life. No, it's the science of the control of life. That is what yoga really is. And this is what that control means. Control over your circumstances, your condition, over your future even, and your past. Then finally, if you have a proper chakra chart, you see within the chakra several symbols. One symbol is a square. The square is a symbol for solidity. Solidity, stability. Another symbol that you find in a proper chakra chart is an elephant with 7 trunks. Each of these trunks represent the building blocks that your physical body is built of. And there are 7 in increasing density. Like energy, condense, energy, energy, air, liquid, fire, solid matter. You have the same kind of cycle or the same kind of order in the complexity of the manifestation into matter. The simplest element is plasma. Out of plasma, blood is created. Out of plasma and blood, muscular tissue, more complex, is created. Out of plasma, blood and muscular tissue, fat tissue is created. Out of those 4, bone tissue is created. Out of those 5, brain, marrow, and nerve tissue is created, and the most complex tissue of the human being is egg or ovum and sperm. What does that mean? Ovum, egg, the eggs that you produce in your womb or the sperm that is produced by the man is the most complex tissue, and therefore the production of it takes huge amounts of energy. And that explains maybe why in spiritual centers you are told to abstain from sex. Because you need your energy for spiritual development. You don't want to waste it on sexual activity. So that principle has become distorted, of course. It has become very dogmatic. But that may be the underlying reason for the condition, if you want to become a monk or a priest, to abstain from sexuality. Because it wastes the most precious tissue that your body possesses, requiring huge amounts of energies to replace it every time when you spend it. Questions? Okay, that was Muladhara Chakra. Let's have a short break, then we'll talk about the next Kriya exercise after the asana practice. Does it turn off when the message comes in?
It stops, yeah, it turns off.
Okay, good. Thank you for paying attention. I thought if I turn off sound, moon, the message doesn't disrupt.
It did.
Smartphones are too smart. Airplane mode?
Yes, the messages.
Thank you. It's smarter than I am. So I need you guys to let me know about these kind of things.
Ron,
Yeah?
so in